Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Reject Films. Got a couple more titles here from the Warner Archive collection to go over real quick. Um, the first one I got from them is Innocent Blood. Really cool take on the vampire uh, genre of horror. And Wolfen, which I've never seen either one of these before, and watched the trailers to both of them before selecting them. And this one looks super cheesy by the trailer. Actually pleasantly surprised with this one. I'll talk a little more in depth here in a minute. And Innocent Blood looked really good from the trailer, and I was not disappointed. So let's talk a little bit about Innocent Blood first. This film is directed by John Landis, most notably for directing American Werewolf in London, along with a slew of other films. Films are kind of hit and miss somewhat, but his early career definitely a better films in his directing history. But this one stars a bunch of people. There's well, not stars a bunch of people, but there's a lot of cameos in here. Like I say, directed by John Landis. You got Sam Raimi makes an appearance, Kim Coates, Tom Savini. You got Luis Guzman in here, Linnea Quigley, Dario Argento, all kinds of people in this movie. I was just like, you got Chaz Palminteri, Angela Bassett, all kinds of not just people from the horror genre, but with all genres all together. It focuses mainly on Marie, who is the main character of this film, who is a vampire. I'm not sure how long she had been around, but she got to the point where she no longer wanted to take just like innocent lives and stuff like that, and starts coming across articles about people in the mob and stuff getting took out and everything, and she feels like it's in her best interest to take out mobsters. So the first half of this film, or at least like the first half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that, is kind of just like a more of a mob film than it is a vampire film. And right after the opening scene, though, like the shot of the city and everything, once the movie starts, you do get to see her in all of her glory and everything, like everything, which she's not bad to look at, I will say that. And so yeah, like the first half, you got the story of the mob characters led by Sal is the leader of the organization, and you got things going on inside the organization there, and she starts to feed upon people in his crew, and feeds on the first one and finishes him off with a shotgun, so it doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary. It just looks like a rival killing or something like that. And then she finally goes to take out the leader of the mob and doesn't quite finish him off. I think she takes out another one before that as well, and he wakes up in the morgue and doesn't quite know what's going on. So he's freaking out, trying to figure out what's happening to him. And then from that point, it kind of takes a direction of more of a horror comedy than it does, just straight horror or mobster movie. Once he becomes turned into one as well and realizes what's going on and starts feeding on flesh and everything like that, he starts really enjoying himself, and even turns a couple of his guys into vampires as well, thinking that if I turn my guys into these as well, then we can rule this city and everything. So, and of course you have a cop in here as well that she's kind of teamed up with. He was undercover in the mob, and his cover gets blown and everything. She tries to go after him towards the beginning of the film, but realizes that he's actually a good person. She could see in his eyes that You know, he means well and everything. That he's not one of those guys. So they become kind of partners, I'll say, once she turns Sal into one, and they go and try to stop him and all the people that he's turned and everything like that. I took like a bunch of notes on this, but I'm not gonna spoil everything for you guys. I know this movie's been out for a long time, but I feel there's a lot of people that still haven't seen this film. As far as the transfer and everything, I give it probably a 4 out of 5 for audio video quality. But a lot of this movie takes place at night, and I feel like the nighttime scenes could have been a little bit better. I mean, you still had the grain intact, which I don't mind that, but I just feel like it could have been a little sharper picture. This is one of their early releases, so you don't have any special features or anything on here like that. You just have, kind of the same design on the disc as well as the front, just her face. And but yeah, overall the transfer was pretty good. This could have been a little bit sharper of an image, and the audio was just okay. It was probably like DVD quality audio. Yeah, so that's pretty much the synopsis of this film. Is her wanting to change her habits of her eating habits, I'll say, and things get kind of not what she expected. She kind of messes up not finishing off certain people and everything. But I really enjoyed this movie once Sal gets turned into a vampire and it gets to the cheesier side of things, and a lot of different things start happening, and he calls in, I don't know if it was a rival mob or what it was, but he calls them into the upper level of this strip club and things like that, and that was a pretty good scene to watch too once they're in there. I mean, they're not in there very long until they go upstairs, but definitely a lot of adult content in this film. I highly recommend checking this one out for sure. That is Innocent Blood from 1992. Yeah, if you guys get a chance to check it out, like I say, I definitely recommend this one for sure. And I'm trying not to make this video go too long, but yeah, so appreciate them sending this over, and this is definitely one I'll be revisiting. And then the next one I got from them is from 1981. Of course, we all know the most horror films released probably of any year there has ever been. And this is one that I've seen around a few times and everything, especially on DVD, and never really knew anything about it. And I thought it was like a werewolf movie initially until I watched the trailer, and that is Wolfen. And you have quite a few people in here as well. You have Albert Finney plays the main detective in here. You have Tom Noonan, who, of course, from Manhunter and a bunch of other films. And you have Gregory Hines in here as well, who's pretty much the medical examiner. And Edward James Olmos plays this really weird guy. So yeah, this movie, it really took quite a while to get going after the opening scene. The opening scene, you have a couple in a park, and they get attacked along with their bodyguard. He's like a I don't know if he's like an architect or whatever he was, but he had plans to build these buildings in the rubbles of some old buildings here in New York. I say here in New York like I live there, but yeah, in New York. And pretty good opening scene though. It was pretty graphic and everything like that. Caught my attention right away, and the way that the Wolfen see in this movie really remind me of like the way that Predator sees with their vision and their extreme hearing and everything like that. Like they can hear like heartbeats and everything like that, and they end up taking the brains from these people as well. And after that, it turns into a lot of police work, which I really like Gregory Hines' character in this. He was kind of the comedic relief, if you will. And Edward James Olmos just plays a crazy guy. He thinks he can shapeshift and do all this. He's running like butt naked on the beach. And, I don't know, he was just out there, and he's involved with these older Indians and stuff like that, and they take this stuff really serious and everything. And there's a point in here too where the Wolfen uh, go after like a drug addict or something like that, and they don't even eat anything like that. Like they're smart enough to know that this is contaminated and things of that nature. And so, like I say, it mainly revolves around Dewey, who was played by Albert Finney, and Tom Noonan, who is like a expert in animals and stuff like that, and really engaged in his work. You know, he takes the side of the animal more than humans, it seems like, and along with another detective, I think her name was Rebecca, another cop that Dewey's teamed up with. They're like the main two that are looking for these creatures. You know, they talk to Tom Noonan's character, who was Ferguson, and they end up finding some hairs from the crime scenes and stuff and they're like the same hairs spread throughout these different crimes and these different attacks. And he tells them that they're from, you know, a certain kind of a wolf that was supposed to have been extinct, you know, many years ago. And you know, he's kind of excited that, you know, there's a possibility that these could exist, and he goes out and tries to find them. Once he realizes they're real, though, he kind of fears for his life and everything, and you don't really see too much more from him. But I say this movie is just, it's a lot of police work until you know, the third act, the final act of it, the last probably half hour or so, and this is like a 2-hour movie, so you kind of have to stay invested in it. I didn't really like lose interest or anything because the characters keep you involved with this film, especially like say the Gregory Hines character who plays Whittington. You know, he's definitely had a good screen presence and everything, and everybody, you know, acted really well and everything. So you definitely don't get bored throughout the film. It holds your interest, but they later on figure out that what was going on the whole time. There's like parts where they're thinking it's part of a terrorist group and all this stuff, and you know, that it's people doing this, and then they realize that, you know, the way that the people are killed and everything, there's no evidence of like a blade or anything like that, that it has to be from, you know, a tooth or something. The way that they're ripped and everything, the way that the flesh is ripped, and they eventually figure out that you know, the people at the beginning were took out because he was wanting to put these buildings up in their hunting ground where these Wolfen reside and do their you know, their hunting and everything like that, and all they want is to be kind of like left alone and everything. So once they go to attack the main two cops, Dewey and I think her name was Rebecca, I'm not 100% sure, they kind of surrender to the Wolfen and they pretty much leave them alone. I took notes on this too of everything that happens, but I feel like a lot of people might have missed out on this one, so I don't want to give everything away. But there is, you know, some killings here and there, and everything. So they feel like they're being, they're pretty much only attacking when they feel like they're being threatened. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one too. I give this one probably the same rating as Innocent Blood on here, probably a 4 out of 5 overall. Again, it's one of their earlier releases from the archive collection, so you don't get any features or anything like that. And this is another one that a lot of the scenes take place at night, and pretty much the same quality as Innocent Blood. I felt it could have been a little bit sharper and everything, but still a good release overall. And definitely recommend checking this one out as well. And you know, if I didn't enjoy it and I didn't recommend it, I wouldn't tell you guys. But definitely, you know, both these are worth picking up, especially when they have their 4 for $44 sale and everything. These are ones to definitely add to the collection for sure. And yeah, so if you guys have seen either one of these films, let me know in the comments below what you think of them and everything. I know I just kind of skimmed through them pretty quick, but like I say, I don't like spoiling everything for you guys if you haven't seen them. But and I could be wrong on the ending of Wolfen, but that's what I got from it was, they're trying to take away their land or whatever like that. And, it was definitely a different kind of movie. It's like I said, I thought it was like a werewolf movie, but it's not. It's just beast, I guess you would call them, and you don't really even see the Wolfen until way later in the film. All you see is like their perspective of things, and then you just see like attacks, and there's a couple times where you just see their red eyes and everything. But yeah, so that is definitely 2 titles worth picking up from the archive collection, Wolfen, Innocent Blood. Yeah, try to make these reviews as short as I can for you guys so you don't get too bored, and I'll talk about them a little bit more in a collection update, I'm sure. And yeah, if there's any other films you guys would like me to review from the archive collection, definitely let me know, and I'll have them send those over as well and get those reviewed for you guys. Or if you want me to start including spoilers and tell you everything that happens pretty much, like who all gets killed and everything, let me know. I feel like that kind of would take away from the viewing pleasure of not knowing who dies and everything. But I like to just give kind of an overall synopsis of the film and everything in my own words, as opposed to just reading the back of the film. I mean, But yeah, I think that's the first film I've actually seen Gregory Hines in since I've known who he is. And I always see Eve of Destruction on the 88 Film site when I'm on there ordering stuff. And now that I've seen him in a film and I know who he is and everything, I actually like him as an actor. I'm sure I've seen him in other stuff before, but didn't really know who he was. But yeah, lots of people in both of these films. So, like I say, I was blown away by the cameos in Innocent Blood. That was just crazy. And it was weird that Tom Savini was in it for like a brief second as a photographer, like a paparazzi or something, and he wasn't involved with the film to the best of my knowledge. I kind of looked up to see if he was involved with the special effects or something, the makeup effects. Usually he'll make a cameo in something he's involved with, but I don't think that he was. So yeah, that's going to do it for this review, guys. I know this one went a little bit longer. I try to do these in like 10 minutes, but been trying to knock out a couple films in one, so I'm not doing individual reviews for movies and everything, and just kind of, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so like I say, let me know what else you guys would like for me to review from the archive collection, and everything like that, or any other films you guys want to see reviews from, and I will do my best to watch them and get that done for you guys. And yeah, so until next time, take care, see ya, bye.